Good day everybody. In today's class we will learn how to convert any given string to a list. Now this is a very important application. Now let me write that down here. We will learn how to convert any given string to list. Now why is it important? The first application, of course there are several applications, and I'm going to start off with this first application. The first application where we would implement converting string to list is in data cleaning. Let me write that down. Now where in data cleaning? Now whenever you are processing information, it is imperative to understand the information would be given to you, or the data would be given to you by means of an Excel sheet. As of now, this is the most comfortable way of transporting or giving in or sending in information when it specifically comes or involves large amount of data. So Excel sheets work on what is called as CSV files. In other words, the data is stored as comma separated value. Now what exactly it means, comma separated value? That means suppose you have the entire biodata of a person working in a certain organization, and some information has to be processed with regard to the person's age or experience and things like that. We cannot be placing all this information line after line. Of course we collect the information line after line, right? Give your name, your age, your residential address, your phone number, the amount of experience you've got, the areas in which you've got experience, and the expertise you know. All of these things are actually asked one line, a line after line, right? But when we store information, it is not possible for us to, I cannot use the word possible. It is cumbersome to save or store this information in the same way that we have received them, right? So to avoid that, what we do, we utilize this technique, what is called as CSV, comma separated values. Now how exactly the information is put in this fashion, let me just show that to you. Now when that comes, we have to break that content and transfer it or realign them into useful information by which we are in a position to understand it, because CSV files are not easy to understand unless and until you know the context. So I'm going to give a demonstration. Now having mentioned that, it is also imperative that you know why is this particular technique required. Why do we need that? What technique am I talking? I am talking about the technique of converting string to list. Why is it so much important? It is important because it is imperative to understand that strings are not mutable. In other words, strings are immutable. Immutable means you cannot change them, but lists are mutable. That's the meaning, or that's the main distinction. Strings are not mutable. Mutable means you can change. In other words, you can use the term immutable. But lists are on the other end, they are mutable. So meaning I can always change a list, right? So that is the single most advantage that we have got in this technique. So you might be wondering, why do we need to convert a list or convert a string into list? Because of this very fact that you can't do much with strings when it comes to data cleaning. Whatever information they have given you, the information sticks. You can't extract, you cannot do any manipulations. When you're not in a position to do any such things, then there is no point in having them. So what we do, we change them. So I'm going to give you the first illustration. Let me go over here. This is the first illustration. To understand the concept of string to list conversion. So now we got a program. What is the program? The program is data input, and it is coming in CSV. So I'm going to ask input, please enter the information of the employee. So the information that I'm looking for are the following. So I want the name of the employee, the first name, the second name, the age, the experience level he or she has got, and then the position, right? All of these things would be entered in a single line. So that's exactly what we are going to do now. So let me process this. So how exactly I'm going to process this? First, what I will do, I will just print and show the information to you. Print data CSV. So this would be printed, and after that I'm going to convert it into a list. So data into list, this is equal to, I got the input data. Now I'm going to use the split function. So what does the split do? Wherever it sees the information that we want to split, that exact point would be split. So what I'm going to do is, wherever I see a comma, I want a break there. I want the split function to perform its split there. So you will see the difference now. The best way to demonstrate is by showing you the output. So I'm going to run it. So when I run it, what do I see? Please enter the information of the employee. It would have been much better if I would have given a colon there. But anyway, so let me start with the employee. I'm going to say Tom, first name, Yesudas, second name, age, I should say this is the third split, and then the experience, say 10 years, and salary, say, or the position is a medical officer, and then the salary, say 3,000. Right? Now this is a CSV. This is how a CSV looks, comma separated value. Now when I enter, you see that this is how the output looks. But this, as I mentioned to you, you can't do much in this. You cannot understand what exactly. Of course, you can understand that Tom and Yesudas and the other information. So what I would say, 30 and 10. You would get confused when you come here. First name, second name, this is fine. This can also be deciphered. But when it comes to 30, 10 numbers and the string, there would be an issue. So now, see what I'm going to do now. Over here, I'm going to print data into list. So I'm going to say print, this is how the list of the original information looks. So I'm saving it and I will run it. Probably I will, as I mentioned to you, let me give okay, I've given a colon there, so I'm going to run this. So I'm going to say Tom, comma, Yesudas, age 30, 10 years experience, medical officer, and then salary 3,000. So the original data would be displayed and the list. Now you see that? This is how the list looks. Now from here I can clearly get whatever I want from here. So from the lists are completely changeable. I can mute it. So for example, I want to change the salary of this person. Say this person is really doing his job, or her, or I should say the job is done well, so I want to make it from 3,000, I want to make it to 4,000. So I can very well mute it here. This is what that would be saved in the database, right? Now, as I mentioned to you, this is how the CSV is handled, and in this case we have got the information from the user. Now what you can do is you can actually make the user to input all of the information, all of the employees in his organization. So how would you do that? So how would be created if the person wants to input, say, 5 people or 50 people, or transfer all the data he or she has received it? How do you do it? It's very simple. What we need to do is we need to create a loop, and I would show you that how exactly we can create a loop. So what we can do is we can go over here. Simply you can just say you want to enter, say 5 people, say 0 to 5, right? So 5 people information are required. Please enter the information of the, say you want to put a quantity there. What you can do is you can just say it like this, plus str of I, and then plus there. So this would give you a prompt. A prompt would be displayed there. Please enter the first employee, second employee, and so on. So we will receive that information. We don't need to print that. So the informations are received. Now we need to split. But the point is that we cannot simply split it like that, right? So we need to have a slight alteration. You can individually split it. If you don't want to individually split it, you can split it as a whole. So I'm going to show you how to. Now we will learn how exactly we can get at least 5 people's or 5 employees information. In other words, how do we create a code where the user can simply feed in the information? So let's get it started. Now first, what I wish to do is I would like to create an empty list, because whenever the user is inputting the details of the first employee, after she has finished entering the employee details, the entire set of detail have to be moved out, converted into a list, and retained as the item for the first list, and similarly for the second list, the third list, and the fourth list, and so on and so forth. So we need to do that. So what I will do is I'll create an empty list. Employee data is equal to open and close, and then since I'm just giving you an illustration for 5 people, I will say for I in range of 0, you can either put 5 or 4, and then we can have the prompt. Please enter the information of the first user. Now this plus str of I plus, this is concatenation. So this would actually prompt the user, give the details of the first employee, the second employee, and the third employee. So since we're talking about employee, we start from 1 and we just keep it as 4. That's fine. So this prompt is necessary. Now after we have got the value, what we need to do is we are going to be using the split function here to split the string. The string is split. After we have split the string, what we need to do is we will have to append, we will have to push the content into the list, into the empty list. So how are we going to do that? So we got the employee data dot, we use the append function, append, and inside that would be data into list. So after the data is split here, it would be appended over here, and that would be repeated for range 1 to 4, right? Now once we have completed that, we come over here. This is how the list of the original information looks. Over here I will indicate the name of the list. So this is the created list. This has to be placed here so that the output can be seen with clarity. So that is the code. So I will just save this and then I will execute it, and let's enter the information. First person's name is Tom, comma, yes it does, comma, just age, right? First name, second name, and age. Or you can say first name, age, and salary. Second name, say Helen, age 21, salary 1200. Third name, Jack, 25, salary 1700. You see that? 3 people, the information of all these 3 employees are entered, and we got first list created, the second list created, and the third list created. So clearly you can see that how exactly the CSV data that we have just received is converted into a list. Now from here, if I want to extract the name of the second employee along with the salary, I can do the third employee and the age, anything I can do. I want to change the salaries present here, I can do that. I want to change the employee itself, I can do that. Anything can be done. Or add a new name, or I should say if there is a spelling check, I want to rectify that, I can do that. So that is how we convert a string into a list, and we will move on to see other examples.